Every day's an adventure.
It is an adventure.
Every day's an adventure with Christopher J. Pratt.
Every day is a winding road.
Are we live?
I hope
Those are live.
so. I
Those
hope
are live.
that's what everybody got open to, is just me belting out a song terribly. Okay. You ready?
Okay. Fuck, I was fucking born ready, son.
Crack. Hi, everybody. Hello,
Hey,
Internet.
Internet. Hey, Internet.
Hey, Internet.
Internet.
Hi, everybody.
Can I just do that? Welcome to episode 189 of Outrage Factory, the podcast where we look at the things that things that make people mad.
Hey, can I do that thing? Sure, Derek. Can you?
189 episodes and haven't fucked it up. Not fucked it up once. This is the podcast where we look at the things that make people mad online and explain why they are dumb for caring, bringing apathy into your ear holes. I am your co-host, Derek Bolin.
I'm your other co-host, Dale DeRuder, and we have a especially thing that people are dumb for caring. And reading it too wrong, Luigi. We just got canceled by Italians.
That's okay. I don't think, looking at our listener statistics, we are not that popular anywhere, but especially not in Italy.
The diametric for uppity Italians isn't on there, so I think we're good.
Nice.
So the one thing that especially the internet got wrong and read into too much and cared way too much is the whole Chris Pratt thing.
Dale.
Yes, Derek.
Tell me more about what this Chris Pratt thing was.
Did you look into it?
Yeah. Wow. I was on the internet when people, I was
on the internet. Good for you.
I spent some time on the internet. I saw his post about his wife, Catherine Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Old Katie Schwarzenegger, who, as we all know, is somehow related to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
Okay.
And also Mary Shriver's daughter, who is a Kennedy. So conspiracy alert. One of the reasons that some people think Chris Pratt and Anna Farris broke up was that he one day wants to get into politics. And everybody knows
office. And the easiest way to do that is to hitch a wagon.
Go in
to a
except for Donald Trump. Yeah, you got to hook up to a Kennedy.
Are the Kennedys even relevant anymore? I don't know that they're particularly. I mean, when was the last time?
I don't know. They're still like political royalty.
It was like 8 years ago. There was like one of the Kennedy younglings was like a state senator, and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy is going to be the Democratic nominee for president." And then
did he get got?
He didn't even fucking make it out like of the first round of the primary. So apparently they don't carry as much water as they used to.
I think after you assassinate the top three who had political aspirations or were in politics, they kind of lose their luster, and people are like, yeah, maybe we're not going to vote for a Kennedy.
I'm also surprised that after that there would be Kennedys who are still in. It's like, oh yeah, I saw the violent deaths that my uncles all suffered. Fuck yeah, I want to go into politics.
Yeah, let me try out this politics thing.
Yeah, I love getting shot at when I'm in cars.
I mean, eventually they gotta miss. They can't hit every time.
Anyway, so I saw the Chris Pratt thing, and I saw he did this this post about his wife.
I want to read the post.
Okay, read the post.
I got it pulled up. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, fucking read it. But wait,
we haven't said what people are upset about. Wait, so I want you to guess real time what everybody's upset about.
Wait, well, that's unfair because I already know what people are upset about.
No, other people.
Oh, other people
listening. It's like a Dora the Explorer. You got to guess at home.
Okay, but you got to read it in Chris Pratt's voice. Go.
I don't know Chris Pratt's voice.
Just think like generic white guy.
Get
but
here.
Kind of like.
Get here. Guys, for real, look how she's looking at me. It's a picture of her just looking at the side of Chris Pratt's head, and he's like looking at the camera, just ignoring her. It's almost like but it's not. I mean, find you somebody that looks at you like that. You know, we met in church. Who cares? She's given me an amazing life, a gorgeous, healthy daughter. She chews so loudly that sometimes I put my earbuds in to drown it out. But that's love. She helps me with everything. In return, periodically, I open a jar of pickles. White guy laugh. That's the trade. Her heart is pure and it belongs to me. It's a little creepy.
That part. So I'm
It
guessing in
belongs
real time.
to me.
Well, that was a fear. Like it's fucking. It's like I possess her heart. Like that's a.
She's my property.
Yeah.
I mean, they met in church.
So like she's. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. My greatest treasure right next to my Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie card. Flat joke. Pratt.
If it was a hockey card, you would have
Yeah.
fucking loved it.
Yeah, if
You
it was
would
a
have
Wayne
loved it.
Gretzky rookie card, I would be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's something people actually care about, not some do nothing Ken Griffey Jr. who never even won a title.
God
'cause he
damn.
played for the Mariners.
Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card.
Yeah. How much
Guess
is
how
it
much?
worth?
Guess how much this thing's worth?
$1 million.
No, fuck no. Like $5,000. That's still not
Wow.
bad for a trading
So
card.
I like my wife almost as much as I like $5,000, and I'm an A-list actor who gets paid over $20 million for every movie I do.
But yeah,
Nice one, Pratt. I lost
she's
where
his
I was.
property. Just
Okay.
like the card. He doesn't have to care about either of them because they belong to him.
She's not his property, just her heart.
Yeah, keep going.
Next to my Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck card, which, if you know, is saying a lot. It's her birthday in about 6 weeks. So if you don't get her anything, if I don't get her anything, I'll tell her to look back at this post. Love you, honey. So it's funny because now in 6 weeks, she's going to look back at the post and it's going to start a fight.
You think so?
Yeah. Because
With her?
Well, she's going to be like, hey, remember when you made this post and the collective internet shit their mind because it's full of idiots? So at home, what are you doing?
I'm waiting for you to lay your judgment upon us, and then I can tell you what I think about it.
Oh, I think everybody is fucking idiots for reacting to this post. I mean, you could get into like the stuff me and you were like weird saying stuff that like sounds like ownership and itemizing, and how it's like he met her in church, which is just like, what? And his like stupid white guy dumb jokes, which were like, what? And then his apology for the whole thing where he's like, I went for a run and listened to Christian music. Because if you didn't know, I'm a Christian. I like God.
Was he always like that, or is he like
No.
born? Because he seems very born. The people who fucking talk about how Christian they are always the born again ones.
One of the reasons he and Anna Farris broke up after 9 years of marriage was because he loves God, and Anna Farris not so much because she's a regular person.
Yeah.
Not that regular people can't love God, but you can't love God enough to listen to Christian music, because nobody likes Christian music.
I used to listen to tons of Christian music back in the day. Tons.
Did you hear what you just said there? You
What?
said, I used to listen to tons of Christian music. You're never like, I used to like Christian music. You're like, I used to listen to it.
No, I listened to it because I liked it. Like there was so there were these two
Jars of Clay.
No, fuck Jars. I mean, okay, Jars of Clay was the first concert I ever went to because they were like my youth group. Because I grew up Christian. My youth group went to Jars of Clay, but there was a couple record labels back in the day. One was called Tooth and Nail Records, and I can't fucking remember what the other one was called, but they had like a lot of Christian, like alternative and punk bands on them. Like you're just like, fuck, shut up. Like you didn't like
I'm
it.
waiting. I'm waiting for these bands that you liked.
MXPX was one of them.
They're legit.
They're a Christian band. Five Iron Frenzy, which is a ska punk band. The OC Supertones, which were another ska punk band,
That's true.
were pretty dope. They were Christian. And then there were a bunch of like what were they? Like I was even into like DC Talk for a little bit. Like that was like, I know.
If you're just listening to this, I made a disgusted face because DC Talk 6. Oh, Collective Soul. They're
No, they're not.
listenable.
They're like, yeah, but they were never like Christian. These
Weren't
bands
they,
were like
though?
Christian, like lyrics.
Christian.
They were like Christian,
like,
you know?
didn't drink or have sex with women before marriage. Christian. Were they that Christian?
I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know.
I just want to point out that me and Derek both grew up in the church and were forced to go into our mid-teens. I had to go to church till I was 16, till my parents were like, you don't have to go anymore. And I didn't.
Me as well.
Derek
I was an altar boy.
Hey, so
I went to church every weekend and like went to the youth group and shit until so like when Dale and I are like cynical about it, it's because we fucking spent our entire formative years growing up in that shit.
Yeah.
And now we're just like bitter and jaded as a result of that.
Yeah, because we left the church, our lives didn't turn out around, but we still aren't willing to go back. So we are qualified to criticize the church. Derek is a Catholic. I was a Christian Reformed. Nobody knows what that is. It's just basically I don't know if it was right wing, but it was conservative Dutch church where they got upset if they played acoustic guitar instead of just piano. That's how conservative it was.
I also went to those like hipster churches that started getting popular in like the 90s that were run by like young people. Yeah, but they were like, and they would have like music and like really like modern music. That was the one. And like people would be like speaking in tongues and they would like fall over and shit. And I want to make it clear, I exclusively attended this church because I was interested in the women attending this church.
Yeah.
As a teenage boy.
I mean, God had it right. Like if he didn't have hot Christian girls, teenage boys would never go to church. Because guys are like, they're like, hey, do you want to go to church? You're like, it's kind of boring. I'd rather like do anything else on a Sunday. And they're like, but this hot girl's gonna be there. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll go
football day.
I'll go watch people speak in tongues and have the most awkward interaction with another human being in my entire life.
It was weird. Anyway, back to Chris Pratt.
Yeah, back to Chris Pratt.
So I saw the article you posted.
Yeah.
So people are mad at Chris Pratt because him and Anna Farris had a baby together.
A
premature baby that was basically like severely fucked up at birth.
It ended up not getting enough oxygen to the brain, so it has developmental issues. Or he does. His name is Jack.
And he was like, he was super premature, right? Like he was born like.
Sure.
Where is it?
I mean, I guess.
He was born with severe brain bleeding, and he weighed just 3 pounds, 12 ounces at birth and spent his first month in the NICU.
Yeah. So what everybody saw when Chris Pratt made this post was they weren't like, he met at church or, stupid joke or, this or that.
Or, her heart belongs to me.
It was that he said, she gave me a gorgeous, healthy daughter. And everybody's like, whoa, Chris Pratt, way to take a fucking jab at Anna Farris for having a not gorgeous, not healthy boy. But I guess actually everybody wasn't mad about the gorgeous part. They were just read way into the fact they said
healthy part.
Which to me,
go ahead, Dan.
Old people, like if you're a born again Christian, you're automatically get the soul of an old person because you say dumb jokes and make stupid statements like old people do. And old people, when they talk about a baby, they're like gorgeous, healthy. That's basically their two favorite adjectives for babies is like, oh, a gorgeous baby, healthy boy, or like, oh, look at that healthy baby when they're looking at pictures and stuff. So I think it was just like his like new old person brain because he's now a Christian just automatically put healthy in there.
Well, also, how old is the baby that he had with Schwarzenegger?
I think like a year and a bit.
Because I like when they're in baby form still, there's not much you can say about it. You can't be like, oh, this baby's hilarious or this baby has a great personality. It's like you can comment on their appearance and you can comment on their health because they don't got much else. It's like, oh, this baby poops in a great way and like sleeps all right. But so I don't like, a lot of people really read into the healthy comment. I gotta like point out that like that kid that he had with Anna Farris, it's still his kid. He still loves that kid. He's still gonna like play a role in raising that kid. He's not deadbeat. So I don't think I'm giving Chris Pratt the fucking enormous benefit of the doubt here, saying that he wouldn't publicly take a swipe at his own child because of bad blood with, and I don't even know if there's bad blood with, like, I don't know. I have no idea what their fucking breakup was like. So
no, I mean, I would watch that reality television show, but they amicably, it says everything I've read, it says they amicably broke up in 2018. Well, they got divorced. They broke up in 2017, and then the divorce was finalized in 2018.
Yeah. But it was like,
point out the point that Andrea was making in the comments, because me and her were talking about this before, and she said, even if Chris Pratt meant something by the healthy thing, he still went through all the stuff of having an unhealthy child with Anna Farris. So he shared in the trauma. So it's not like he wouldn't feel something, and maybe he is actually relieved to have a healthy baby instead of another like unhealthy baby that has all this like trauma and suffering to go through having it. But I'm with you, Derek. I don't think he meant any slight of it.
Well, and he could say that like without disparaging. Like, it's not like, oh, this new healthy baby is like way better than that shitty unhealthy. Like, I think that's a lot of people projecting their feelings about premature babies or mothers and fathers or whatever the fuck else is going on there. Like, I don't think there was like, it's one word in a schmaltzy hokey Instagram post, and people are putting an awful lot of weight behind it that I don't necessarily think was.
I also think it's offensive to Anna Farris for them to get this upset about it, because it's like they're all mad that Chris Pratt left, because the way they view it, it's like Chris Pratt ditched Anna Farris and then got a new wife. But it's not like he ditched some old woman and got a trophy wife. It's like he made a lateral move for someone else who was Christian that he met at church. And Anna Farris, her world didn't end when Chris Pratt left. She was still in that super popular sitcom Mom. She has her own like podcast. I don't know if she's still doing that or whatever, but she's like, Anna Farris is fine. She also has a pile of money she can sleep on. So she's not suffering in a life that's Chris Prattless.
Well, it's enormously fucked up, because this is like, do you know many celebrity couples that haven't ended and then they get remarried to another celebrity? Like, I kind of feel like that's the norm right now. And, you know, I'm not going to make any arguments for or against it, but you also look at like the whole fucking John Mulaney thing, where like John Mulaney left his wife and now he's having a baby with Olivia Munn. And
that's because his first wife was a B word.
Dale, I don't know her, so I'm not going to weigh in.
Okay, I have very limited experience with his wife. I talked about it in a past episode, but John Mulaney was on Cars, Comedians and Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. And that's like a show with Jerry Seinfeld where he drives around in a car and they go get a coffee. So in this episode, Jerry Seinfeld's like, oh, I heard you moved or something, John Mulaney. He's like, yeah. And then Jerry Seinfeld takes him to a carpet store and it's like, and John Mulaney, and they're just walking around talking like for the show. And then John Mulaney's like, oh, I kind of like that carpet. And Seinfeld's like, oh, you like it? Do you want it? And he's like, well, no, I mean, my wife won't let me have it. And Jerry Seinfeld's like, what? She's not going to let you have a carpet that you show up with? So Seinfeld buys John Mulaney a carpet. And John Mulaney's wife says, no, you can't have this carpet that your fucking legendary hero bought you. So get it out of my house. So the end of the show, Jerry Seinfeld's holding the carpet over his shoulder. And he's like, I'm going to give this to somebody. I bought it. I'm not letting it go to waste. Who the fuck has the audacity to say, I don't want that Jerry Seinfeld carpet in my house? Like, you have to be the biggest C word of a person. Like, if Andrea came home and she like bought home like a literal basket of shit as like some nouveau artistic thing. And she's like, my actual real life hero bought this for me. Can we have it? I'd be like, yes, because your hero bought you that. And it'll remind you of your hero who is still in the business and can affect your career if you slight him or her.
Or her.
So John Mulaney's previous
didn't
wife,
Jerry Seinfeld
you had this coming.
Didn't Jerry Seinfeld like groom underage girls back in the 90s or something? Wasn't he?
That
Like,
has nothing to do with the carpet he bought.
Okay.
Yes, when he was in his late 30s, he married a 17-year-old girl,
which was weird when he was at the
creepy and
peak
gross.
of his fame, and nobody fucking nobody said a thing back in the 90s. Everyone was just like, "Oh, there's Jerry Seinfeld, man with a lot of money."
That was back when there was gatekeepers in the industry, and you couldn't make it on your own, so you couldn't say anything to the living legends.
This was like pre-internet.
Yeah. One of the reasons people are getting taken down with Me Too now is it's not Me Too shit just started. It's now you could still have a career without these gatekeepers. Like, you don't need a Weinstein to get you in a movie. You can get yourself into a movie.
Yeah.
So they just
highly successful, a self-cast, highly successful movie that we see all the time.
Yeah. Well, you know what I
mean. Yeah. What was the fucking, you said something that, the John Mulaney thing.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
Olivia
that,
Munn. I mean,
people get,
if you hooked up with Olivia Munn, like, this is gonna sound toxic masculine and everything, but wouldn't you dump a baby in her so she never left you? Was she so she would be tied to you for the rest of your lives?
I am not going to comment on that.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to the Facebook to see how Andrea has responded to that in the Facebook comments. She hasn't
said anything yet. I think she turned out when I was yelling about John Mulaney and how big of a B word his first wife
was. People get fucking weirdly invested in these like parasocial relationships with celebrity couples, and then they feel like entitled. It's like, Anna Farris is not your friend. You don't have to leap to her defense over an imagined slight that you saw in an Instagram post, army of internet strangers. It doesn't fucking matter. If Anna Farris is upset about it, I have to assume that her and Chris Pratt have the kind of relationship where she can be like, yo, Chris, that comment that you made on the Instagram post, specifically the word healthy, really hurt my feelings. And Chris Pratt would say, I'm sorry, Anna, I respect you and I love the child that you gave us. And I have the utmost respect for you. And I'm really sorry for how that came across. And then everyone just goes on living their lives without an army of fucking idiot internet strangers fucking bogging the whole process up with their shitty opinions.
I mean, nobody came out and was like, I can't believe Maria Shriver. That's her name, right? Maria Shriver? No, that's her mom.
Oh, yeah. It's
What's his wife's
Catherine Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Catherine Schwarzenegger. They're like, I can't believe he said she eats loud. Anna Farris must have ate so quietly and lovely like an angel.
Yeah.
Like, nobody misinterprets that nibbles. One word.
Little bunny nibbles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they don't have the emotional investment with Catherine Schwarzenegger. To them, she's the other woman who isn't Anna Farris, because everyone fucking loved Anna Farris and Chris Pratt so much.
I mean, if I had to pick one of the two, it would be Anna Farris. I know Andrea loves Catherine Schwarzenegger because she watches her like video podcast blog thingy, because it's all about like pregnancy and motherhood and stuff.
I didn't know she did anything.
Yeah. Well,
other than be Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
Well, if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter and Chris Pratt's wife, you have enough money to just make your hobby your whole life.
You do, Dale, but do you have your own name? Do you have your own brand? Or are you just a fucking extension of the men in your life? Are you just Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter or Chris Pratt's wife? Or are you a fully realized human being? What's the next topic? What are we talking about now?
I was like waiting for that to go somewhere, and it just fucking landed flat on its face, and I was like, oh, that's a great segue.
That's into whatever.
Oh, I know. Let's talk about something. Actually, let's go into something else that's extra dumb. Let's go into our second dumbest topic, and that's Big Bird got vaccinated, and Ted Cruz wasn't having it. So Big Bird posted on Twitter I guess Big Bird's on Twitter, that he got vaccinated and it hurt his wing a little, but it was nothing to be afraid of. And then Ted Cruz was like, this is propaganda to 5-year-olds. Why is this happening? And a whole bunch of right-wing people got very upset that Big Bird was pro-vaccine. What do you think?
Question.
Brad? Yes.
If a bird got vaccinated, it wouldn't be in the fucking wing. There's no muscle there. You need the muscle. It would be in like their bird. Like where does one vaccinate a bird? I would bet cash money. It's if you're listening or watching this and you're a veterinarian, tell me where birds get vaccinated. I'm just fucking Googling it. Where do birds?
And then someone else pointed out that Big Bird in the 70s for the measles vaccination did the exact same thing. So there is kind of precedent for Sesame Street characters to be pro-vaccine and be bought by the man.
Yeah, there is fucking precedent for Sesame Street characters to be socially responsible, as they have been since the show was created. And whatever form that social responsibility takes, whether it's giving a shit about homeless people or buying locally or not littering, or it's like that's Sesame Street's whole fucking brand. So why would we be so surprised by them also embracing the socially responsible vaccine that it's socially responsible to get? Ted Cruz, you fucking idiot.
I almost feel like Ted Cruz didn't really care, but he felt like he had to say something otherwise, just so he could like pander to his followers and stuff. Because if Ted Cruz didn't say anything about this, then people would be like, hey, Ted Cruz, why didn't you say anything?
Ted Cruz, why are you silent on this assault from Big Bird, the fucking large puppet? I've been reading a lot lately about like the culture war and how culture wars happen and how they usually precede like actual literal wars, like violent ones, in a lot of countries. And I've just been like, it's been like the decline from like the what, like probably like late 80s, early 90s to now, where it's like now everything is a fucking it's a cultural issue rather than a political one. And all of these politicians are getting elected. We saw this play out. There was just a gubernatorial, I think I said that right, election.
You did. It sounds wrong, but you said it right.
in Virginia last week, 2 weeks ago. And the politicians now are no longer elected on whether they can serve their constituents and like on like what their policies are. It's that it's all this stupid fucking culture war bullshit that actually has like, yeah, it might matter to people and they might like, it might align with their values, but it has very little to do with how you actually run a country.
Yeah.
So we saw like the guy who was elected in Virginia was basically his whole platform was, I will not allow, what's that fucking stupid thing that people are getting mad about in the States being taught in the schools?
Critical race theory.
Critical race theory. And his whole thing was like, I will not allow critical race theory in the schools. And like people voted for him in droves based on this one issue.
People are upset about critical race theory, man.
But it's like
like a big thing to them.
It is, but it's also a thing that like nobody really understands, and that like doesn't fucking matter. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if fucking Big Bird gets up and like tells kids to take vaccines, because you're not going to have a 5-year-old wandering into a GP saying Big Bird said I should get my shot. Like that's not something that is ever going to fucking happen. So why does this matter to anyone?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with Big Bird getting vaccinated, but it's funny that you brought up that Virginia thing, because apparently there were some Democrats for the other guy who sent in people dressed up like the Charlottesville, like the Charlottesville people with the tiki torches and stuff. And it turned out they were actually Democrats dressing
operatives?
up. Yeah, they were Democrat operatives. Like that was the thing that happened. And that's just like so annoying and fucked up. But yeah, I mean,
it's all annoying and fucked up. I hate fucking politics so much now. And it's like, the other thing that just happened was like the US just passed this like historical infrastructure bill.
Yeah.
To like basically like fix all the shit that's falling apart in the United States because they spend, $100 trillion a year building bombs and shit to like beat the shit out of other countries, and like a fraction of that to like make sure their own fucking roads and bridges are in working order. But it was a vote in Congress, and it was like I was reading an article about it, and it was like only 9 Republicans broke ranks with the Republican Party to vote with the Democrats in favor of this bill. And the reason they did that is because they felt that it was better to vote for a package that better served their constituents, even if it meant aligning with like the enemy to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that used to be fucking normal. Like, you used to go into Congress as a senator and you would vote for the policies and the packages and whatever the bills, whatever the fuck else that benefited the people that you were elected to serve. Even if it was the Democrats or the Republicans, if it made the people who you served lives better, you voted for it. And now we've hit a point where like, fuck no. Even if all the people in my district want that, I'm not going to fucking vote for it because it's a Democrat or a Republican that put it forward. It's insane. Like, how are you supposed to govern a country of 300 million people like that when you can't even like do anything that breaks ranks with your party, and all your party's principles are based in bullshit culture war shit?
Yeah.
Like,
was there anything like this infrastructure bill? I heard that at first it was going to be 6 trillion, and then they whittled it down to 1 trillion. And it was because they're like supposedly they're 10 years behind on their infrastructure, because they're like, fuck it, we'll just let it go for 10 years. And now they're playing catch up. But the other thing that always happens with this dumb shit is like, the Democrats will be like, this is our infrastructure bill. It's for $1 trillion to fix all the roads. Doesn't everybody want that? But then it'll be padded with a bunch of other bullshit that they're trying to like put through on the sneak tip.
Yeah, because that's just how that's how politics have to, like, right now you have to like go around and basically like give everyone hand jobs to vote for bills, even if they make perfect fucking sense. So
this is literally the only thing you've ever said that makes me want to go into politics.
No, you have to give hand jobs. You don't receive the hand jobs.
I said what I said.
All right. But you like, so they'll go around and like to bargain and to get people's assurances that they'll vote. They'll be like, well, can you include this clause that you'll build an oil rig and like bulldoze this school? And then they'll like sneak that in. Then by the time they fucking by the time they actually put it to a vote, there's like a fucking entirely new, there was supposed to be some other bill they were voting on at the same time. I think that was like social spending or something. And they took that off the plate entirely, and they're going to do a separate vote for it where it will be soundly defeated because Americans hate socialism. Let's go. But yeah, what were we talking about? Oh, Big Bird and Ted Cruz. Yeah, I just fucking, and like, this is a thing that like, the vaccine is a thing that elected officials should generally be in favor of. And like Ted Cruz, he's been fucking vaccinated 100%.
Is he still fat, or did he get skinny?
He got skinnier.
He got skinnier, but then did he get big fat again? I know
if he's healthy.
Dope facial hair.
But yeah, he actually looks he looks
a lot better than he did.
Much better with the facial hair.
But he's still got some comorbidities that he would have to worry about. So
yeah,
I hope he's vaccinated.
He got fucking, and like elected officials should be promoting the vaccine to their constituents.
Yeah.
Like they should be. But for whatever fucking reason.
I mean, he's in Texas, so he probably has to like on purpose not promote it because of his constituents are probably like, we don't want the vaccine.
No, but like, here's how it should work. Even if his constituents, like if you're a leader of something and a bunch of people who you are leading are making the wrong decision, like if you're like standing at the edge of a cliff and you're the leader of the people and they are slowly advancing towards the cliff. And you're like, they're like, fuck you, it's my choice. I want to walk off this cliff. You can't fucking tell me what to do. It's bodily autonomy. Where's my freedom? As a leader of those people, even if it pisses them off and even if it loses you votes, it's your fucking job to say, look, I'm going to level with you guys. I know you want freedom. I know you want autonomy. If you walk off this fucking cliff, it's going to kill you, or it might just maim you a little bit and it's going to kill other people who follow you. Just turn around and head the other way, and we'll figure out some other plan, but you don't have to walk. Like, that's what a fucking leader should be doing. They shouldn't be pandering to the craziest people in their base in order to secure votes. Like, it's a fucking, I don't know how we have gotten here as a society. Like, I have no idea what has caused people to just lose their fucking minds completely.
Yeah.
And everyone to like fall in line with the craziest people instead of saying, hey, like, okay, this is the way humanity has functioned for like thousands of years, is that you band together and you collectively solve problems and you get through that. And then you're on to the next one. And now we're just like, well, fuck it. Fuck that whole thing that worked for us for thousands of years. What we're going to do now is we're going to splinter everyone into tiny little micro groups that can scream at each other all day and accomplish nothing. And that's how we're going to get through the next 1,000 years. Let's go.
Yeah.
You tuned out like halfway through my rant there. I noticed.
Yeah,
Fuck
I
you,
did
Dale.
a bit. Well, it's because I don't know. It's like,
fuck you, Dale.
I don't know if not taking the vaccine is walking off a cliff, but
It's
like,
but you.
I'm not going to say don't get the vaccine or get the vaccine. It's like, I believe people should get the vaccine, but I could see why a bunch of people don't want to. Like, it's because of all the shit that's gone wrong and stuff. Well, actually, I'm pro-vaccine, but I'm not like pro all the like fucking ram it down your throats and shit. I don't know. It's like, at this point, the people in Texas who aren't vaccinated aren't going to get vaccinated. So it's like, would Ted Cruz being like, hey, go out and get vaccinated? I don't really think that would help that much.
No, but it would at least be something. And that's not like informing people isn't ramming shit. Like, it's not better. We saw the same thing with the Capitol riots. Like, you had all these Republican lawmakers who were so fucking shitting their pants about losing votes that they had to like carry on this lie that the election was stolen for months. Some of them are still fucking carrying it on like a leader would step up and say, and we've seen some Republicans do this, be like, look, there's no evidence of this. I know you're angry. I know you're upset. I get it. We'll get them the next election. Instead of like doing this, like just fucking insane lie spreading and fear mongering and like rumor spreading in order to secure votes. And that's kind of what like Ted Cruz should be saying. Hey, the vaccine, I get it. I understand you're hesitant. It's safe. It's effective. It will help keep the economy open. It will help.
Yeah, but if they wanted to keep the economy open, they could have just kept the economy open.
Could they have? Because the economy's open now, and you look at all these fucking businesses that don't have people to work for them anymore. And okay. And all the supply chain issues. It's like,
yeah, but all the supply chain issues and stuff, that's not like there's not enough people to work. It's all like bureaucracy that's holding the ships up at the port because they don't have enough people to stack fucking cubes off the ships, and they can't stack them a certain height and all this stuff. It's because all the stuff has to come through California, and California's still fucking extremely locked down, so they can't just like get like union workers, and they're like doing all this union busting and not allowing people to work if they're not vaccinated and stuff.
Yeah, so what's the solution there? Is that we say, you know what? Let's let 200,000 more people die. That's fine. That is the cost of doing commerce right now. So
I'm just saying they could have let the economy go through. I don't think 200,000 people would die if they opened up the ports a little more.
Also, it's not just California. This is like a global supply.
I
Like
know,
that
but
might be like,
most of the supply chain comes through the ports in Los Angeles. That's like it's like a choke point for the supply chain for stuff coming off of ships.
for North America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like basically the reason that nobody's it's not like I've heard it explained as it's not a labor shortage, it's a hiring shortage where everybody's just fucking fed up with their jobs and been like, you treated us like shit and we needed you. And then we took a second and we realized, fuck you, we're not coming to work unless you give us more money.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's like this hard nuance thing that you can't like pinpoint what's the problem and stuff. I don't know. I'm just not willing to say that I don't know. What were we talking about?
Well, I was saying,
How do we start talking about the economy anyway?
because if enough people everyone's waiting for this like return to normalcy.
That's never going to happen.
Well, it's particularly not going to happen if you have 45% of people in certain areas who refuse to get vaccinated because they think it's a fucking Bill Gates microchip, fucking whatever they think. Like, we collectively as a society, we eradicated like measles, we eradicated mumps, people got vaccinated, they fell in line, they got vaccinated, they did it without
but
mandates.
those things, if you got vaccinated for, you no longer got them. Like if you got a measles vaccine, you didn't get measles anymore. It wasn't like with the vaccine, it's like you're getting vaccinated. Like what they should do is they should be like, look, if you get vaccinated, you still might get COVID, but it'll be the Delta variant because that's the only one that is a breakthrough. Because like they should just super analyze all this shit and be like, look, the Delta variant is the one that everybody who's already vaccinated is getting, and that's one of the lesser fatal variants. So you should all. And another thing they should say is, yes, there is vaccine side effects, but getting COVID gives you those side effects, but worse. Like there's this whole thing where they keep saying vaccines are safe. It's like, no, they're not. There is some risk in them, but the risk of getting COVID is worse than the vaccine because all the side effects you're going to get from the vaccine is from the spike protein they use to make the vaccine. But COVID has those spike proteins and COVID. So it's like, if you get myocarditis from the vaccine, you would also get myocarditis from COVID, but then you'd have COVID on top of the myocarditis. So one of the problems is they're not fucking telling everybody all of the truth. So that's why people are hesitant. If they just started telling everybody exactly all of the truth, I feel like some more people would be like, all right, now you're telling us everything and I'll get it.
I don't think it will play out that way. Like you look at the people who are still refusing at this point, like the information is fucking out there. Like there is not a shortage of information.
Is it out there though?
It's
because
100%
I feel
out
like
there.
There's a lot of pullback and like, especially like right now we're getting COVID treatments instead of the vaccine, which we didn't get before because they were holding them back because if you had treatment for COVID, you couldn't push the vaccines through. So that's another reason. It's like all this shit that they just don't tell you. And they're like, oh, it's safe. The information's out there. And it's like, no, it's not. They're actively holding back information and banning people off social media for talking about shit. Like you and me got one of our episodes banned because we talked about masks.
Yeah, but the information is out there. I can Google right now and tell you, like, you can find all the stats about breakthrough cases of COVID. You could find all the adverse incidents of the COVID vaccine. Like this is all widely available. So there's no conspiracy to like purge the internet of anybody saying that like vaccines are dangerous. Well,
there used to be.
I agree with that.
There used to be if you talked bad about the vaccine, like a year ago to 6 months ago, if you talked bad about the vaccine, it was considered medical misinformation and it was taken off.
It depends. What if you're saying something nuanced, rooted in fact? Yeah. I get it. If you're saying vaccines are dangerous, that's bullshit. Vaccines,
they're not safe, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're dangerous because they're way less dangerous than getting COVID. but there still is an amount of risk of side effects if you get the vaccine.
Yeah, there's an amount of risk in getting in a car or leaving your home or not leaving your home or eating food. But I would say, and I'll come right out and say it, eating food is safe. Even though
if you're allergic to it,
you can choke, or you can have an allergic reaction, or you could get food poisoning and shit yourself to death, or you can get a fucking parasite. Eating food is largely safe.
Yeah, but if you, like your other example, saying car accidents happen, if I were to say driving your car isn't safe because you might crash if you're driving like an asshole, and then Facebook and YouTube just take it off the internet because I'm talking about automobile misinformation, that's bad too. This is a rabbit hole I don't think we should go any further into.
Fuck you. Also, I mean, there were 10 separate things we just said in that whole segment that are gonna get us pulled off of YouTube. So.
Oh, I know. See, that's the thing. Like, we're gonna get pulled off of YouTube for all of this stuff because they're still pulling shit down. Like, just let everybody have it out forever.
I don't agree with that.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true because people are idiots, and this podcast is basically there to just show how people say dumb stuff without thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube has a social obligation to and maybe they're a little heavy-handed sometimes because they have an algorithm doing the legwork, but there's a lot of shit out there that shouldn't be publicly viewable because people no longer possess critical thinking skills. And on that note, let's pivot into noted critical thinker Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. What the fuck?
So if everybody doesn't know, Aaron Rodgers was unvaccinated. I don't know. I'm getting mixed signals because apparently he told the NFL and the Green Bay Packers that he was vaccinated. But one of the articles I read said that he asked if he could be considered vaccinated because he was working on his natural antibodies with homeopathy.
So here's
stuff like that.
So here's what happened is he apparently had a valid reason for not getting the vaccine because
what was that?
He said he was allergic to an ingredient in
that's
the
like
Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, which fine. And he didn't want to take the Johnson & Johnson one because of there were a lot of
myocarditis or inflammation or blood clots.
Something like that.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was same as AstraZeneca, right? So there was so he abstained from that, and what he did instead is he came to Canada and got a homeopathic treatment designed to increase his antibodies. And then he went back to the NFL and he said, yo, will this count as me being vaccinated? And the NFL was like, no, fuck no. It's homeopathic, which is a very long word to say does fuck all. So
actually,
Dale,
I have to add a little fucked up thing that the NFL was accepting for this, because the NFL didn't demand that everybody get their full vaccination. Like, it wasn't that people had to get 2 shots of Pfizer or 2 of Moderna or 1 Johnson & Johnson. They only had to get 1 shot. And then if they used homeopathic remedies or had the antibodies some other way, they were considered fully vaccinated, which is fucked up. So it's like, yes, Aaron Rodgers was dumb for thinking he could get away with this, but at the same time, the NFL is doing this halfway. Yes, you're considered vaccinated when you're not fully vaccinated based on your antibodies. And Aaron Rodgers was like, well, if I just have the antibodies, will that work? And they're like, no. So that's where it opens the door for fuckery is what I'm saying.
Does it though? Because I feel like the NFL was perfectly clear, but they were also happy to keep Aaron Rodgers, the whole situation, swept under the rug because he wasn't a fucking idiot loudmouth like Cole Beasley shouting about how vaccines were bad for you. But that all came to a head this week when, unsurprisingly, the guy with the homeopathic antibody treatment got COVID. So guess those antibodies weren't as
basically
good.
he didn't have enough antibodies.
Yeah.
The other thing too is it's like he's not going to get suspended for getting COVID when he wasn't vaccinated, but he is going to get some fines, and the Green Bay Packers will get fines.
So,
yeah.
And all that was fine. It was fine that was the situation. They're saying he might get fines for breaking because there were specific protocols that people had to follow. Unvaccinated players cannot be. What are you doing on podcasting here?
For those listening, Kate was dancing in the background of Derek's feed.
Yeah, wonderful. So fuck, where was I? Oh,
who cares?
There's protocols that the NFL has where if you're unvaccinated and you're in a room, say doing like press at the end of a game, you're supposed to be masked. And Aaron Rodgers was never masked.
I thought he was.
No, okay, he never wore the mask because nobody had any idea he was unvaccinated until this happened. So he was basically like generally carrying on when he was at the practice facility and shit. He was following the protocols. He was masked. Yeah. But when he was doing press conferences, he was not. But he raised a good point around that where he was like, look, as an unvaccinated player, I'm getting a COVID test every single day. He's like, and I'm sitting here in a room with a bunch of vaccinated people. So you have like daily negative tests, and the combined with everyone in the room with me has been vaccinated. So why do I have to wear a mask? And I'm like, no, Aaron, that's the one good point you made through this thing, because he also went on Pat McAfee, who's just a sports talk guy. He went on his podcast or radio show or whatever and just like fucking went off about like the woke left and cancel culture and like a bunch of like bizarre shit. Also said that he was like taking fucking
monoclonal antibodies.
Yeah, he was basically like, I'm taking the Joe Rogan. He's like, my buddy Joe Rogan gave me medical advice, so I'm doing that.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it was monoclonal antibodies, NAD drip, which is like a whole bunch of super vitamins, ivermectin, and there's one other chemical that they take, and it's the same one that Trump got. It starts with an R. Resveratrol? No, not resveratrol. Starts with an R. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, I don't know, because all the stuff Joe Rogan took after he got COVID wasn't to build up his antibodies. It was to get rid of COVID after he already got it. So I don't know. Like, yeah, whatever.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
that's where we're at.
I don't know. It's like weird because it's like what they should do is if Aaron Rodgers got COVID, did they say where he got it from, or does he know?
No.
Oh. Because it's like, it's one thing if this guy gets COVID because he's doing fuckery, like going to the strip club with COVID-ridden strippers, and then he brings it into the locker room and gives it to everybody else. But if it's just like he got COVID, it got caught in the test, and nobody had like interaction with him after he got COVID. But don't you have like 2 or 3 days that you're able to spread it before you test positive for it? Is that still a thing with COVID?
I don't actually know anymore.
But they should trace to see if he actually gives it to anybody else in the locker room and then give him shit for that. Because, like, sure, it's bad that he didn't get vaccinated, then he got COVID. But you have, like, say, Sidney Crosby in hockey. He's fucking fully vaccinated. His whole team's fully vaccinated. He's following all the rules, and he still gets COVID. So it's like, on one hand, you're like, yeah, give him all this shit because he wasn't vaccinated. But on the other hand, you're like, well, they still get it if you're vaccinated. It just makes it so you don't spread it as easy and you don't get as sick from it. So it's like, I don't know. It's like throwing the book at, like, say, Aaron Rodgers, even when he had like a specific reason he couldn't take it. I don't know. Cause it's like, if some other guy who was vaccinated, who isn't getting tested every day, brings COVID into the locker room and gives it to other people, what happens to him?
Nothing, because he followed the health protocols that are in place.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Which
just
it makes sense to me. Like if someone like follows and does what they are supposed to do, it's like if you have someone who is driving a speed limit in the car and they are wearing a seatbelt and through no fault of their own, they get in an accident and get injured. It's like, okay, you did everything you were supposed to and you still got injured. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Whereas if you have someone who's drunk and speeding and like snorting drugs and fucking on their cell phone and they get in an accident, you're like, okay, well, we're going to have to punish you because yeah, the end result is the same. You both got hurt, but one of you followed the rules and one of you didn't. So you get punished.
I guess that's a valid point.
Yeah, like I think it's like, and like overall, like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine that Aaron Rodgers is unvaccinated. Like, I'll say as like a public figure, he should be vaccinated. I will say it sounds like he made a choice based on like him having reactions to
what would happen if he got it? Like, did he say what his allergic reaction would be? Like, is it like fucking like severe?
No, I don't know. I gotta assume like just an allergy.
Well, it's like, what if it would kill him? Because it's like with you, you're allergic to penicillin. Yes. What happens if you get penicillin?
I get like, it depends. Like if I eat, there's penicillin in like regular ass bread mold.
Yeah.
So if I eat like moldy bread, I'll get this like fucked up rash all over my hands and feet. Like they'll balloon out, like swell and fill with fluid and shit. It's pretty fucking gnarly.
How long does that last?
Usually like a couple weeks.
A couple weeks?
Yeah. And then if I ever took like penicillin medication, like I took it when I was a kid, like my throat started swelling and like I got all like flushed. And so I could like potentially just like my throat swells shut and I die. Yeah.
I mean,
so if someone was like, you have to get penicillin or you can't go to work, I would be like, well, fuck you. I'm not doing that. So like, I get it, but also just follow the fucking rules. No one's telling unvaccinated players they can't play football.
Yeah.
They're telling them that like, hey, if you want to play and you want to take part, you just have to follow these rules. And
I'm gonna quickly look up like how many of the NFL is vaccinated.
It's pretty. It is a pretty low.
I feel like of the 4 major sports, that would be the lowest. Because I think the NHL has 3 people who aren't vaccinated now because Harmonic wasn't, but then he got vaccinated. Yeah. What is it? Oh, it says 94.1% of the NFL players are vaccinated.
Yeah.
But that's not fully vaccinated. That's just one shot. Because like I said before, the NFL has that stupid rule where if you get one shot and then you get antibodies, you count as fully vaccinated.
Leagues such as the NBA, NFL, and MLS have vaccination rates greater than 90%, with the NHL and the WNBA at over 99%.
Oh, way to go, girls and hockey dudes.
Killing
it. All right. Wow. Talked a lot more.
That hour
it
flew
for
by.
Rodgers?
Is that it for every? We've been here an hour. I've done my time.
Yeah. There's a couple more things we could talk about, like that thing that happened in Houston. If you want to get
let's talk about that really quick.
Okay. So Astroworld, which is a music festival produced, Travis Scott founded it. He's a rapper, which, by the way, I was like, I've never heard Travis Scott's music. So I listened to his two most popular songs that have over 1.5 billion streams on Spotify.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Also, when you say the phrase he's a rapper, you say it like the oldest, whitest man who ever. You're like, he's a rapper.
Well, he is a rapper. Usually rappers don't have names like Travis Scott. That sounds like a country singer's name. Usually rappers have names like Little Something or DM. I'm just going to date myself with my lack of knowing rapper
They have names like Will Smith or DJ Jazzy Jeff
or Shay. DJ Jazzy Jeff's not a rapper. He's a DJ.
Shut the fuck up, Dan.
But you know what I mean? Like there's Busta Rhymes and Lil Nas and Lil Wayne and 50 Cent. What I'm saying is they don't have a first and last name as their rapper name.
Thanks for joining in this week for two middle-aged white guys discuss rap music.
Yeah.
Travis Scott, Astroworld, rapper, music festival.
So they had a 50,000 person music festival in Houston, Texas over the weekend, which I didn't see a single mask in the crowd, but it's outside, I guess. So, and when Travis Scott came on stage, there was a rush of people to the stage and a whole bunch of people got crushed. And it ended up with 800 people dying, or not 800, 8 people dying. And I think they said something about over 100 injuries because of what happened. And yeah, so Travis Scott and the people who put on the show are getting sued because is it the plaintiff or the defendant when you sue somebody?
The plaintiff is the one doing the suing. The defendant is the one being sued.
I guess Travis Scott would be the defendant twice because he was the guy performing and he's the guy who was the producer of the whole show. So he's going to get double ding for this. But the plaintiff was saying that it was foreseeable incidents that happened and there wasn't caution. The proper caution wasn't taken. Like they were understaffed for security members. They didn't have the proper medical staff on hand. And they like another thing there. A lot of people were saying like, cause this blew up over Twitter and stuff. Cause people who were there were posting videos of the mayhem and they're saying like, they didn't stop the show. They should have stopped everything. But then I saw that a police officer said we couldn't just shut everything down because then these people would riot, which he's probably right.
So first off, like this is a fucking tragedy and, definitely thoughts with the 8 victims and all the people who were injured. Number 2, I went down a rabbit hole on this last night. I was watching a lot of like video footage of it. And there were literally incidents where people like a girl and a guy climbed up onto a camera platform that was recording the concert and they're screaming at the cameraman, you need to stop. There is a dead guy down there. And the camera guy is wearing a headset with a fucking microphone on it that he can use to communicate with everyone else in the production. And he didn't do that. He basically like told her to get the fuck out of the way. She's like jumping in front of his camera to try and get him to stop and pay attention to her. And he was just like, he's basically what they said is we can't stop. We're live streaming this show. So like the which is just fucking gross. Like they all put the money involved with like canceling this production at a premium over the human lives that were lost. And you could tell that in the way but there was one instance where Travis Scott actually stopped so they could get one guy out, because I don't think Travis Scott fully saw what was going on, because in one article I read, it said he stopped mid-song for like a couple seconds so they could get one guy he could see out that was like pinned up against the front gate or something. Yeah, but even then, there needs to be like, there are fucking mechanisms in place for, there's not just like one artist on stage isolated from everyone. There's a whole fucking production team running the whole show. All these people, like these shows are like hugely complicated endeavors to pull off. There are an entire network of people in communication with each other around the show. I guarantee people knew what was going on. I can't say that Travis Scott himself did, but people knew what was going on. And they just like, they made the incredibly callous decision to let the show go on and let these people die or deal with their injuries. And like some of these people might have fucking, like, I'm sure you said it's just one person suing Travis Scott right now.
No, it's two people sued, and that's just now. It's going to be a lot more.
It's going to be a lot. Yeah.
Like those are just two of the injured people that have like there's people still in ICUs and stuff that are injured from this. And then I imagine the families of all 8 people are going to sue. It
100%.
might even just be like an automatic thing.
And I also saw, I was watching footage, and there was footage from earlier in the day at this where there's just like a mob of people at the fence outside at like basically the security gates for the thing, who hadn't purchased tickets, and they kick the gates down and they stampede in and they like kick the fuck out of the metal detectors. And there's like 2 cops on horseback and like 2 underpaid security guys there trying to stop this like human ocean of people just running at them. And it's like at that point, someone should have said, like, yo, all these like a few thousand people just broke in, like stampeded this gate. We should like put a pause on the show until we can figure out what the fuck we're going to do with this. And you know, there was a lot of other shit, like when the stampede happened and people were trampled, there were like no fucking clear ways for ambulance or pathways for ambulances to get in. There were people like, I don't buy the fucking you can't stop a show because people will riot, because people were posting evidence of this all over social media today where like fucking bands have encountered this situation before. Well, I've gone to fucking like Warped Tour and like punk shows zillions of times where like, and punk bands or punk fans like to fuck shit up. Like I'm sure they're capable of rioting as anyone else. And if someone like falls down or someone gets injured, the bands stop the show and they make sure that like everyone knows that if someone fucking falls down, you help them up. And that's like the number one rule of going to a concert. And they make sure people understand that. So again.
Yeah, it just sounds like they didn't know what they were doing and they threw a concert and they're basically like, what's the worst that could happen? And well, we know, like, because you and me used to go to concerts all the time, and there would be like a security officer every 3 feet at the front, and they were like the whole show, they're pulling people out from like the gate in front of the stands. They're like, they pull you out and they put you aside, and then you kind of run around and you go to the back of the crowd. Like that's how they dealt with crowd surfers and people who were getting squished and stuff. And I'm not really sure that they had that sort of egress system, because there was a lot of people like I didn't read as much as you, but I read a couple where they're like, the way it was set up, there was no way to get out once you like got out, because there was like, they're talking about people who were like, they had to climb up on speaker stands or something and just like wait there till it died down.
And it's fucking like all the people who died, like I think the oldest person who died was like 24 and the youngest was 14. So
yeah, it's terrible. And like a 10-year-old was severely injured and like might have like permanent injury from it and stuff. And it's like, it's terrible, because it's like, also, if you have an all ages show, usually you have even more security to make sure the kids are safe. Like, and it's like, I don't know, it's just like, it just sounds like this whole fuck up thing. Like, I don't think that they had the proper like all ages show stuff established either. I think they're just like you said, they're like, fuck it, let's make some money.
Let's make some fucking money. Hey,
yeah,
concert holders, you gotta think about this shit.
Yeah,
because if people die, that's not good for the old brand.
Yeah, no. Travis Scott did release a statement. Should we read it, or is it just?
Oh, did Travis Scott release a standard fucking dick sucky statement that?
Yeah, he posted it on his Instagram.
Oh, good. I'm sure it took full accountability for everything that happened.
I'll just read it. It says, I'm absolutely devastated by what took place last night. My prayers go out to the families of all those impacted by what happened at Astroworld Festival. Houston PD has my total support as they continue to look into this tragic loss of life. I'm committed to working together with the Houston community to heal and support the families in need. Thank you to the Houston PD, Fire Department, and NRG Park for their immediate response and support. Love you all. So that's kind of like, although it is nice to say that he's giving full support for like for them to look into what happened, and because there's going to be a huge investigation to this. And like on one hand, it's terrible that all these videos of people getting hurt and maybe even dying escaped and like were just put out onto Twitter and stuff, but at the same time it's good so people could see exactly what was happening and they could find out where, like, if this, what, like, ultimately they'll be able to find out if the organizers of this concert shit the bed and didn't do all the things that they were supposed to, which it's pretty obviously that they didn't. And it wasn't just these people went nuts. It was probably a little bit of both. What a downer.
Yeah, that was a bad choice to end the fucking.
Yeah. Oof. Well, let's go back to making fun of Chris Pratt.
Yeah. fuck you, Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else, Dale?
No, that was all that was on the list. What was I gonna say? No, there's nothing else on the list.
All right, cool. Hey, everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Outrage Factory. I've been your co-host, Derek Bolin. You can follow me on Twitter at Herder.
I'm your other co-host, Dale DeRuiter. You can follow me on Twitter at SuperDaleBot.
You can follow us, which is actually just Dale, on Twitter at Outrage Fact Pod, or like us on Facebook at Outrage Fact Pod, or follow Dale on TikTok at
Dale DeRuiter.
Dale DeRuiter. Not
and
Outrage Fact
like
Pod.
us on all of your podcatchers. That's my new favorite term, podcatchers.
Yeah, all the things that catch your pods.
Yeah, catch your pods.
And yeah, wherever you do get your podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Head on over to Facebook, catch our live streams there every Sunday, or if we feel like it, Monday. Or sometimes we skip entire weeks just fucking because.
Just because shit happens.
Just because shit happens.
Sometimes we can't give you this. Sometimes the spice doesn't flow.
Nice.
From extenuating circumstances. We watched Dune this weekend.
We did watch Dune.
Let's talk about Dune a little bit, just so we don't have to end on death and mayhem.
Okay.
Just a couple minutes because I know it's pretty late. It's 8:30. Everybody's got shit to do.
We're getting up there.
But we watched Dune and it was fucking amazing. Except for the last like 20 minutes, kind of went too long.
I still liked it.
Yeah,
I
loved it. Oh man, the music was so good, and it was just like, I don't know,
Hans Zimmer.
Visually was amazing.
It fucking, like, I shit my pants. It was so good.
All the like stiff, and it was awesome because it's like, if you're familiar with Frank Herbert, he's like an anthropologist as much as he is a science fiction writer. So in the novel, he talks about the differences between the alien race, the humanoid races and stuff. And in this one, there's three main races. There's the Fremen, the House of Atreides, and the House of Harkonnen. And both House of Atreides and House of Harkonnen and Freeman, I guess, they're all humans, but they all have these different characteristics because the way they evolved around their environment. Like Harkonnens are like all bald and big and like gray looking and white because they don't have sun on their home planet, whereas Atreides look the most humans, and then Fremen have like blue eyes from like sucking up the spice and stuff, but they all also have their own technology. Like Harkonnen ships look one way and Atreides ships look another way, just from like their home worlds and stuff that they grew up on. So that part of it was really dope.
Yeah, it was real. And I feel like for, the length of the source material, like he did a pretty good job of like making it approachable, right? Like,
yeah,
that's a movie that not just like hardcore fucking Dune heads are going to love, but like people who are like completely new to the story will enjoy.
Yeah, like if you haven't read Dune, you can go into this and you'll be able to follow what's all going along because they explain it. But at the same time, they don't skip all the good stuff that you would want to see if you are a Dune head, like Derek said.
A fucking
Um,
Dune head.
I don't know exactly where they left off in the novel series. Like, did they get? Because I read the book, but I read it like fucking 18 years ago, so I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly like where they left off. Like, did they finish the first novel or did they? I don't know. Do you know?
I don't feel like they did, but do not quote me on that.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, go see it for sure. As Andrea said in the comments, Jason Momoa is in it, and he whoops some ass in it.
He does.
Yeah,
He does.
and yeah,
There we go. Lighter note to end on.
Go watch it. Get your sci-fi boner out, and yeah,
And yeah, go see Dune. And until next week,
stay angry.